Everybody shout! Come on now, sing out! 'Cause it's time for the Groovie Goolies show!
Hello and a spooky welcome to this retrospective look back at The Groovie Goolies, an American cartoon series produced by Filmation and imported to the UK back in the 1970s and 80s. I'm RetroSteveUK, and in this video we're covering a potted history of the TV show and its origins. We've got some info about the main characters and their voice actors, some interesting insights into the theme tune and other musical numbers on the show, and as usual we'll be sharing some of your memories in the featured comments segment. I'll also be throwing in a few entertaining clips from the show at the end for good measure. And in case you were wondering, yes, I am fully aware of the fact that Ghoulies is a slang word for a certain part of male anatomy. I won't be bringing this up again in the video, but I will be looking forward to your posts about it in the comment section, so go ahead and knock yourself out. The Groovie Goolies are a bunch of ghouls, ghosts and monsters who live together in a spooky castle called Horrible Hall on Horrible Drive. The three main characters, Drac, Frankie and Wolfie, present the show, and each episode is a collection of jokes, comedy skits and musical numbers involving these three, supported by a roster of other characters, and we'll be going into some of the details of these characters later in the video. The show was produced between 1970 and 1972 by Filmation Associates, the animation company known for many of the childhood cartoons we loved to watch back in the 1960s, 70s and 80s, including 1973's Star Trek The Animated Series, Sport Billy in 1980, the 1986 Ghostbusters cartoon, not to be confused with the real Ghostbusters, and of course, who could forget, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
By the power of Grayskull!
The Groovie Goolies was actually a spin-off from another 1970s cartoon, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, which itself was a spin-off from the 1960s Archie comics, and yes, that is the same Sabrina that was portrayed in the live-action 1996 TV show of the same name. The Sabrina cartoon featured short animations of the Groovie Goolies, and they proved popular enough to deserve their own show, which is what we ended up seeing aired on TV in the UK back in the 1970s and early 80s.
I needed that!
The main characters in the Groovie Goolies are obvious riffs on the classic Universal Pictures movie monsters like Dracula, Frankenstein and the Wolfman, and many of the other supporting characters' names were inspired by famous pop culture icons of the time. Drac, voiced by Larry Storch, is apparently the head honcho at Horrible Hall. He's a somewhat grouchy vampire who plays the organ in the Groovie Goolies band. Frankie, voiced by Howard Morris, is a Frankenstein's monster with a laid-back approach to life. He plays percussion instruments in the Groovie Goolies band and loves being electrocuted, as evidenced by his famous "I needed that" after each electrocution. Wolfie, also voiced by Howard Morris, is the werewolf, although we never get to see him in his human form. He's portrayed as a beatnik hippie surfer dude type character and is often seen driving around in his wolf wagon. He plays a guitar type instrument in the Groovie Goolies band. Some of the more notable supporting characters include the following. Sabrina Spellman, voiced by Jane Webb, is the aforementioned teenage witch from the Sabrina cartoon. She's described as being one of the Groovie Goolies' cousins. Bella LaGhostly, also voiced by Jane Webb, is a female vampire character who operates the telephone switchboards at Horrible Hall. Hagatha, who was voiced by Larry Storch and Howard Morris at different times, is a portly witch who works as the kitchen cook. She's often seen riding around on her sentient broom named Broomhilda. Mummy, again voiced by Howard Morris, is the resident first aid expert. He's also seen in other capacities providing commentaries and news reports, and he would often get into scrapes causing him to become comically unravelled. Bonaparte, voiced by Larry D. Mann, is a nervous skeleton who lives up to his name by wearing a Napoleon hat and frequently falling apart, collapsing into a pile of bones on the floor. Fauntleroy, another Howard Morris voice, is based on the Little Lord Fauntleroy character. He's an overweight, selfish, spoiled brat in a sailor suit who is often seen playing with or being bullied by his two friends Ratso and Batso. Ratso and Batso, voiced by Larry Storch and Dallas McKennon, are a pair of vampire imp-type monsters who like to play practical jokes on people which would often backfire, leaving them in sticky situations. And finally, Orville the Plant, with vocal effects provided by Howard Morris, is a large carnivorous plant that would often provide comic relief by eating anything and everything, and usually it was something that was needed by one of the other Horrible Hall residents. Now, it goes without saying that there were many other fantastic characters on the show which I haven't mentioned here in the interest of brevity, so if you want to experience all these colourful characters for yourself, it is possible to watch every episode online right now, and I'll be covering how to do that later on in this video. As well as the extremely catchy theme tune played over the beginning and end credits, every episode of the Groovie Goolies featured 2 horror-themed pop songs portrayed as being played by different bands made up of characters from the show. The first song was always a performance by the Groovie Goolies threesome, Drac, Frankie and Wolfie, and the second song would be performed by one of 4 additional bands, the Mummies and Puppies, the Bare Bones Band, the Rolling Headstones, and the Spirits of 76. There was also a spin-off musical album released in late 1970 by RCA Victor Records in the USA, simply entitled Groovie Goolies, which featured photographs of the musicians in costume on the cover. The album contained mostly original songs, with a couple of tunes from the show included, reworked and re-recorded for the album, including the TV show's main theme tune. The album is almost non-existent here in the UK, although it can be sourced quite easily from the USA, and according to the Discogs.com database, you can pick up an LP or CD copy for anywhere between $9 and $30, depending on the condition. It's also available to listen to on YouTube, so there's that, and if you want more details, I've shared links in the description, including a link to the entire main theme tune you can watch, complete with lyrics, which I've uploaded to my other YouTube channel, Time Travel TV. As I previously mentioned, you can watch every episode of the Groovie Goolies right now online and for free. There were 16 episodes in total, and they're all available to watch on YouTube, which some kind soul has put together into a handy playlist, and on the Internet Archive, which also has a handful of extra features in addition to the episodes. Of course, there's always the second-hand DVD and VHS route to explore, with copies readily available to buy from all the usual online outlets, with eBay, in my opinion, being the best starting point if you're looking for this sort of thing.
Now it's weird. Windows time.
As usual, I asked for your thoughts and memories to share on screen in this video, and the Groovie Goolies didn't trigger a massive response, so I'll briefly go through all the comments here from my YouTube community post section. Ivan Harriman completely forgot about the Groovie Goolies, but he and his mate never missed an episode, and he thinks it must have been around 1981 or 82. Elijah Retro 1982 watched reruns of the Groovie Goolies back in the late 80s and again about 10 or 11 years ago, and he thinks it's a great show. In my reply, I admitted I still enjoy episodes now as an adult, but I also admitted that I still sometimes read the Beano, so there's no surprise there really. Safia Ahmed remembers the theme tune and vaguely recollects parts of the title sequence, but doesn't remember watching any of the actual episodes, but in contrast does remember Captain Zepp, Willow the Wisp and Mr. Rossi. I do remember 2 of those, but Captain Zepp is one that must have passed me by for some reason. Brian Farrell 1 loved the Groovie Goolies and thinks it might have been shown during one of those Saturday morning kids shows like Tiswas, Swap Shop or Saturday Superstore. Carl Moore remembers watching it the first time round but can't remember the names of the characters, although he does seem to remember a Groovie Goolies 7-inch single being released one year covering the Monster Mash. And finally, Mr. Dirkles has never seen this programme even though he was born in 1971 and thinks it may not have been broadcast in his particular TV region, and SR1976 in the replies seems to remember it being broadcast early Saturday morning, possibly before Tiswas or something.
This place is driving me batty.
So, do you remember watching the Groovie Goolies back in the 70s or 80s? If you do, go ahead and share your thoughts in the comment section. I'd love to hear about what you think. And if you'd like a comment featured in a future Retrospectives video, follow me on my various social media platforms, where I'll be asking for your comments whenever I'm working on something new. You'll find all the links in the video description. We're going to finish up now with a quick supercut of some of the funniest and perhaps corniest one-liners from the Groovie Goolies repertoire of jokes. But first, I'd like to thank everyone who submitted their comments, to thank you for liking and subscribing, and of course to thank you all for watching Retrospectives.
Sabrina, did you ever hear the werewolf's curse?
No, but if I did, I'd wash their mouths out with soap.
Hey, Ratso, how do you get into a locked cemetery?
That's easy, Batso, with a skeleton key.
I resemble that remark.
Oh, you know, my weird uncle drank a whole gallon of varnish. What a beautiful finish.
Hey, Frankie, like, have you seen my shoebox, man?
No.
Well, here, like, watch. Aroo,
I wonder what's for dinner.
aroo.
My favorite dish, Hungarian goulash.
Say, Goolahand, would you like to have your paw bread? I sure would. Well, here.
Wolfie, why does the big green meanie wear red suspenders?
Like to keep his plants up?
What is that, Wolfie?
Man, like I got a bad case of the jitters.
Casket, what do you think of a ditch digger who keeps falling into his ditch?
I like a man who throws himself into his work.
Sticks and stones may break my bones. What am I saying?
Wolfie, what steps should you take if you see a zombie?
Big ones, Sabrina, like big ones.
Oh, it's the auntie room. Auntie, nephew! My, you certainly have grew some. Thanks, auntie. I certainly am.
Giddy up, Broomhilda. We gotta get going.
Agatha, you must learn to stop flying off the handle like that.
I didn't need that.